afternoon, Highlands. Olivia Ulmer here with the first edition of Talk Show Live for this semester. I am here with the brand new news anchor on Fox 19 Morning News, Jacki Jing. You may have seen her in the past couple of months in the morning. If you wake up that early, I don't know. I know I do. Watch her every morning with my cup of coffee.
Aww.
And I've got my colleague, Jacki, over here, who's going to be joining us on our interview journey.
Thanks for having me on, guys.
Oh, no problem. Thanks for coming. So, how did you get started in this career? I know we're always wondering, oh, what are we going to major in college?
Yeah.
Do we want to do this? So, were you interested
That's
when you were our age?
That's a funny question. When I was a little girl, and I mean a little tiny girl, I used to put my head in a cardboard box and pretend I was Connie Chung. And my mom was like, okay, this girl wants to be a journalist. But I went to high school and I joined the yearbook staff. I joined the news staff. I was editor, copy editor for both of them. So I knew I wanted to be involved in journalism, but I didn't really think broadcast. I thought that I wanted to be a print journalist. But then I went to college. I played volleyball for the State University of New York in Binghamton, and they gave me a full ride. They didn't have a journalism program, but I was like, hey, they're paying for school, you know? So I went out there, and I actually double majored in English and political science, and just did internships, and basically that's how I got my start. But I originally wanted to do print journalism, and then some people reached out to me who were in the broadcast industry, and they were like, you have a good look, and you like to talk,
Yeah, that's nice to hear.
and you're funny, and you're animated, and they were like, you would be really, really good on camera. And I was like, are you kidding me? If you put me in front of a camera, I'm gonna be a deer in headlights. I'm gonna completely freak out. But you get your start in really small markets, and you work out the kinks, and I like to think I'm decent at what I do now, so I don't know, it's taken a lot of practice, but yeah, that's how I got started.
So you got your start in your hometown. Was that your hometown?
No, actually, I started my first, well, I guess, okay, so I did internships in Binghamton, New York, and then I would go home for the summers and I do internships in Denver. Okay. So it was basically, the key, if you guys want to get into this, the key to it is internships. And the earlier you start the internships, the better, because no matter what, you can't teach someone what it's like in a newsroom. It's just crazy. It's a circus in there. And that's the best advice I could give people, is go out and do the internship. So I did some in college for the Binghamton station, the Fox 40 Binghamton station there, and then I also did internships for CBS 4 in Denver. And then when I was a senior in college, my last semester, they had an opening for a weekend reporter position, and so I jumped on it. I was like, hey, you know, I have these internships under my belt. You guys are a small market. Yeah. Binghamton is, well, maybe I should explain this. The TV markets in the United States, they're ranked. So the smaller the markets, the lower it is. So Binghamton was number 158. Okay. So I was like, this is an entry-level market. Let me get started as a weekend reporter here. And that's how I got started. I was doing it on the weekends when I was a senior in college. And then the day after I graduated, they were like, you want to be full-time? And I was like, all right, let's get this started. So then I started full-time. I worked out there for about a year and a half, and then basically you move up from there. So then I applied to Springfield, Massachusetts, which was market 110, a mid-level market. And then after that, I made a pretty big jump, and this happens occasionally. Sometimes if people see a lot of potential in you, they'll bring you up to a really high market. So I got hired in Denver, and I was they just made me do everything. I was like the utility player in Denver. I was hired as a traffic reporter, but they had me do fill-in entertainment reporting. I was the fill-in anchor, the permanent fill-in anchor, which was really lucky for me. It was a great experience. And then I also did in the field reporting. They had me co-host a variety show.
Oh, wow. That sounds like a lot of fun.
Anything and everything.
Yeah.
Basically, it was like, oh, well, Stacy's out today, so have Jacki do this. Oh, Ron's out today, so we're going to have Jacki do this. And they just threw me there, and I was like, that's fine. You know, the biggest thing I can tell you guys is just absorb as much as you can. If you ever get an internship somewhere, be like, I'm willing to do everything and anything. Yeah. You want coffee? You got that. You want an eclair? I got you 6. You know what I mean? Like, you just have to be willing to do everything that you possibly can. So that was kind of a long-winded answer, but yeah, that's how I got started. I did the internships, got the small jobs, and then just worked my way up. So.
Wow. So I mean, it seems like you've been all around the country doing this.
Yes.
Is there any like favorite place you have in the country where you've done anything or been there for a while?
Well, I love Cincinnati.
Oh,
I
okay,
do.
cool.
I really like it out here. When I came on my visit, my co-anchor Rob Williams, he's an amazing guy, by the way. I absolutely love the team I work with. Frank and Rob wanted to make sure to show me everything that they possibly could. So I swear they took me to every single restaurant downtown and over the Rhine.
Yeah.
We were out in the Banks too, Newport, and there's really good food here. I mean, I guess I don't want to sound like a fat kid, but I love I love food. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
so over the Rhine, I could just spend every weekend
Yeah, we actually
there.
just did a news piece about
Oh,
over
did
the
you?
Rhine because I mean it used to not be as developed as it is now, but it's like.
And
it's
it keeps
crazy
on
there.
developing.
Yeah.
There's just booming business there. And I mean, it's everything though. It's the restaurants, but they also got great stores. It's just this cool atmosphere. I really like over the Rhine. So
You're a
and
Cincinnati
downtown.
fan.
I'm a huge Cincinnati fan.
Awesome.
Love Montgomery Inn barbecue. Love it. Skyline Chili is pretty good too. Grater's ice cream.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's the
So I've
favorite.
been getting a taste of Frisch's pie. I've had Frisch's pie.
Okay.
So people have been telling me all the things I need to try out here. And
Yeah, I didn't even know Frisch's was a local thing.
I guess
Neither did I.
Is it?
I haven't.
don't
I mean,
know.
I haven't seen it
They
anywhere
brought
else.
me, they
but-
brought me a bunch of pumpkin pies, and everyone's like, "Oh, Frisch's is awesome." So I was like, "Okay, cool." But yeah, I mean, I have to admit this: the people here are so friendly. I was really nervous moving out here. I didn't know anyone, and everyone's just been so kind to me. I go to church at St. Xavier, and people will see me in church, and they will be like, "We're so happy you're here, and you do a great job." And I don't know, it's really nice to hear that, you know what I mean? And it's nice that people are just so welcoming and friendly. It's really nice. So I love it here. Cincinnati, you rock. Good town, good city, so yeah.
Well, so as Olivia said before, you played Division I volleyball for the
Yes.
Binghamton, for the high school you went to in Binghamton, or was that college?
That was college.
It was college
Yeah,
that
that
you
was
went
college.
to in Binghamton?
I played in high school too, but then I got the full ride to SUNY Binghamton. And like I said, for any of you out there, you really don't need to do a journalism major. I mean, does it help? Sure, but I mean, really, all you need to be able to do is talk in front of a camera and be intelligent. You know what I mean? You need to be able to, you need to be articulate, you need to be eloquent, you need to have knowledge about a lot of different topics. But so many people I know in the industry, they made it work just through internships because you just need to learn how a newsroom works and just how crazy it is and how to write quickly and the writing style.
So do you write your own? Do you write your own material?
We have producers who write it, but then I will go through and put it in my own voice.
Okay.
So they but mind you, they do a lot of the work. My hats off to my producers. Rico, Eileen, Dan, I love all of you so much. They do a really, really good job. They come in, oh man, they have a rough job. They come in at 10 p.m. at night. They come in at 10 p.m.
For the morning news show.
And they work all night long, and they put our show together. And these are the positions that many people, I actually worked an overnight position when I was in Springfield, Massachusetts. I went into work at 10 p.m., produced the 4:30 a.m. show, anchored the 4:30 a.m. show, and then I had to jump into a car and do live reports for the 5 a.m. and the 6 a.m. I would jump out of the news car and they'd be like, "Jackie, here's your mic," and they'd throw me my bag and be like, "Hey, right now we're live in front of this blue curtain and it's fascinating. It's fascinating, let me tell you." And you just had to go with the flow. So those early jobs, I mean, news in general, it's really stressful, but it's so much fun, and you just kind of have to find that balance there. It's an adrenaline rush for sure, but those first jobs, they work you to the bone. You know what I mean? Like they're like, you're working overnight, you're producing your own show, you're doing live reports after that, and then we might have you write a package after, and you just have to be like, okay.
And I feel like you have to be like pretty nomadic too. You said you're in Denver and then you went to New York. That's crazy.
The biggest, my biggest concern, I guess I would say, is that I have young people come up to me and they're like, "Oh my gosh, I want to be a reporter. I want to work in LA. I want to work in New York." And I'm like, "Girl or son, that ain't happening right away. You're gonna have to go out to Binghamton, New York, or you're gonna have to go to, I don't even know. There's such small towns. I was gonna say El Paso, Texas. That's not even small. That's like a mid-level market. So if you think El Paso, Texas is small, and you just have to start off in these really, really tiny towns, and then you work up to a mid-sized market, which Springfield, Massachusetts, is still relatively small, and Cincinnati's a big city. I mean, this is a
so
big
they're
break for me.
considered not a mid-level? What would Cincinnati be considered?
Cincinnati is number 35 in the nation.
Okay, wow.
So that's not bad. That's it. I always say 35 and up is a pretty big market. So we're there, you know what I mean? And
wow, awesome.
I mean, if you watch the news product we have here, it's really great. It's really, really good quality. Like I said, I'm honored to be here. This is the job I've always wanted since I was a little girl. And I'm so blessed because Rob and Frank and Denise are awesome, the people I work with on air. And then my off-air team, like I said, my producers, they work hard. They're grinding out news and trying to make it captivating and fascinating. And they just all work hard. It's funny because I know the on-air talent, you know, we're kind of the face of it, but it's such a bigger beast than that.
Yeah.
If I would love to take you guys to the newsroom once if you guys would like to go.
Yeah,
but
definitely.
It's huge. And there is at least 50 plus people in there. We have an assignment desk, we have reporters, we have production people, we have camera people just like you guys have set up here. I mean, it's just a big, massive production, so.
Well, in the midst of that all, were you ever nervous to come to Cincinnati? Because I know you were replacing Sheila, who was here forever, so were you nervous about that?
Well, okay, so Sheila Gray, whenever anyone speaks to me about Sheila Gray, they're like, you know, Sheila Gray was a legend, right? And you have big shoes to fill. And I totally get that. I mean, I've never met Sheila. We tweeted each other once. She told me, congrats on the job. And I was like, thank you so much. Yeah, she seems really, really nice. We just actually haven't ran into each other yet. But yeah, of course. I mean, she was here for 15 years. And I knew she had a really good rapport with Frank and with Rob. So I was nervous when I came here, but Rob and Frank welcomed me with open arms, and I'll be honest with you, we click. Like the three of us together, we just click. We get each other. We really like each other. We're all we're all the types that we wear our heart on our sleeve, and we just are really honest. You know what I mean? And so it's worked out. It's worked out really well, and I don't know. I hope you people like me out there. Hopefully, yeah. But I mean, so far I'm loving it here, and I really like everyone. So it's good. Yeah.
All right, so back to like things that you've done in the past. I have seen some pretty famous interviews when I was looking online. So what are some of your favorites?
What are some of my favorite interviews? Okay, so to preface that, I worked as the entertainment reporter a little bit in Denver. I would fill in. And so I did get some really big interviews. So this is tough. I want to say my favorite interview of all time is probably Tom Hanks and Halle Berry.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, Tom Hanks and Halle Berry. And
so cool.
I was so nervous. Because, I mean, those were pretty big names.
Yeah.
And I think it was one of my first celebrity interviews. So I think Tom Hanks knew I was nervous because I walked in there and I was like, hi. And then he was like, Jacki, what's your name, Jacki? And I was like, or what's your name? And I was like, my name's Jacki. And he was like, oh my gosh, Jacki, great, where are you from? And I was like, Denver, and he could just still tell I was like shaking. He's like, okay, everybody stop. He's like, everybody just put down the lights, put down the mics. He's like, everyone just stand up and give Jacki a round of applause. Stand up. So mind you, there's a big crew. Because, you know, you sit just like where you're sitting and they're sitting here. And so the crew just put down the boom mic and they put down the cameras and they're all like, I knew they're probably annoyed. They're probably like, why are we clapping for this girl? But he made sure they all gave me a round of applause. And then after that, he was a fantastic interview. He talked about voting and how he said he was going to like spank people if they didn't vote. So I brought him a paddle and he was like, I'll spank all of you. And then Halle Berry was like, why don't you give me a spanking? I was like, oh, what is going on? Like, yeah, it went absolutely crazy. It was funny. It was like all playful, like nothing grotesque happened or anything, but it was like funny, you know what I mean? And it was just really nice because I think they could both tell I was an upcoming reporter and really nervous, and they just really went out of their way. Another one, Jude Law, he sang to me. I asked him what his favorite Beatles song was, and he sang, and I was just like, I can't speak anymore. I don't know what to say. He was like so dreamy. And then Bradley Cooper, he spoke in French to me. I was like, no, I mean, believe me, I was like, those were some blessed moments. I did talk to Chris Hemsworth and Chris Evans, and we talked about superheroes, and we talked about football. And you know what I mean? Like those celebrity interviews were really fun because you just, I guess it's weird. I think, you know, whenever you see someone on TV, you're just like, oh, wow, they're on TV, and you just don't think of them as a person. But then when you sit down with them, all of us are the same. We're all the same. You know what I mean? We're all just human beings.
That's pretty
flesh,
cool.
you know. So yeah, I guess those are some of my favorite ones. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, well,
Yeah.
we actually have a clip, I don't know if they showed it already, from your interview with Sandra Bullock.
Oh, for Gravity.
Yeah, so.
She was great. She was an awesome interview, too.
Did you do the hand motion?
Jackie, you want to slate that for us, please?
Is this the talk hand motion?
Well, you just because obviously if you didn't do this, you'd know you wouldn't use your lips. So this way, you know you have to move your lips.
Oh, okay, so I have to
when
move
you
my
talk.
lips.
Yep.
Jackie Jing, Fox 31 in Denver.
Thank you.
Thank you. Should we do the whole interview like this?
Sure.
Okay, let's
Well, then
stop.
it'll be on the Muppets.
Exactly.
Anyway, well.
Creepy hand. Okay, so anyway.
It was super fun. She was really, really nice. Really nice woman. But it's funny because that wasn't even, the interview hadn't even started yet. You have to sit down, and that's usually the most awkward part. Because you have to sit down, and they're like getting the mics ready. So then you have to sit there and talk to them. But you don't want to give away your big questions, but you want to be like funny and getting like comfortable with them, you know what I mean? So those are usually the most awkward moments, but she was hilarious. She was just like, we were doing the hand puppet thing. I was like, all right, this is cool. So yeah, she was really, really nice.
So, about your job in Cincinnati.
Yeah.
You said you liked it a lot. Could you see yourself staying here for a while, or would you like to move on to New York or LA?
No, you know what? It's funny. I just don't think that far in advance.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I know I'm going to be here for a few years, and I don't know. It could be a decade. It could be 2 decades. It could be maybe I will spend the rest of my life here. Just for me right now, I'm enjoying it here. I love it here, and that's all I can think about right now is the present. You know what I mean? So it's good. I like it. I like you guys. I hope you like me too. But yeah, maybe.
That's great. I'm glad you like it here. It's a great town.
Thanks for
I
having
love
me on, you
Cincinnati.
guys.
Absolutely.
No, thank you so much for
Jacki.
coming. So that concludes our interview. Thanks for tuning in, and be sure to watch Jacki, Fox 19, every morning.
Yep, 4:30 a.m. to 11 a.m. usually.
All right.
So you got a long time. You can tune in whenever. So.
All right, have a great day, Highlands.